Hello, this is TeleGramFuse and welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TMNT RW ongoing series issue 130. So yeah, we finally got a conclusion to this really interesting story arc, and I'm not exactly too sure how I feel about it, because on the one hand, I'll say it did a decent job of wrapping things up of everything that was set up within this story arc, but at the same time, I don't feel like this was probably the best way to conclude everything, considering that we just spent like the last, 5 months with it, and I feel like maybe it was a bit of a disappointing conclusion to everything, but I guess we're going to go in more depth about that and see if it was actually good or not. So first let's talk about the Punk Frog sort of side of things, and then that's going to really wrap into the Dr. Jasperlo sort of stuff, and then also like a bit of theories near the end of the video, because there is some stuff which I'm not too sure how I feel about, which more like theory sort of stuff that could lead on to within the future of the series. So the Punk Frog sort of stuff, we got the Punk Frogs fighting the Turtles, but then also they just leave out of nowhere just because of like the hood explosion, and that was about it really. I thought this was just like a really bad way to end their story. It's like they've been building up this big fight. I mean, like they had like a few fights before this issue, where they're building up this whole big threat, and then now they've gone to their final conclusion with the fight. It just feels like it was just like, oh, here's the fight. Oh, well, we need to end the story so we can start the next big one, which is Armageddon Games. So I feel like they really rushed the ending with the Punk Frogs, and it's just like, oh, they're here. No, now we need to go. So I really thought there was just a little bit of a letdown, especially within this issue in terms of the fights, but as a result of that, the Punk Frogs do get separated, which does lead into the Dr. Jasperlo sort of stuff, which is more interesting, I would say, just because after the last issue, Cersei lands in Mutant Town and hit the like surgery or clinic place. So this is all left like a little bit of mystery on like who could survive, who might not survive, and stuff like that. But it turns out that everyone survived, no one really died. I think that maybe the only people that might die was the clone turtles that Dr. Jasperlo was making, but I think that's the only people that may have died. So yeah, but I will say this, it was quite interesting in terms of the fight scenes, as you got Sheena just absolutely killing things Dirtbag very brutally and gruesome, and yeah, like it's understandable why she would do it, and it's perfectly understandable why, but it was so much darker than what I would initially think Turtles is, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like, when you go from like a really kid-friendly property to going into something more dark way, it is really interesting to say the very least. But then you also have Venus, who's also doing some stuff as well. She's not really that, I mean, she's there, she does some stuff, but then when you get to the other Punk Frog comes in and tries to get Venus back on their side, it all comes a little bit more weird, I'd say, because like, I do like the aspect of basically Venus is now accepting that she is a new person and she's not Bunny anymore. I do like that aspect about her character, but I do think that because they're fighting over, like Donnie and the other frog were fighting over Venus, it all becomes really bad on the frogs' part. It's just like, oh well, I mean the frogs were like really accepting that like Donnie wasn't the one who caused it, and then all of a sudden he wants to take and like and also not to mention he doesn't do any fights with the Turtles anymore. But yeah, he's fighting over to get Venus back, and I found it really weird and just it's all a little bit like cringy, like in like cliche sort of way, but basically, I mean, because she was like one of us, I mean, you had to come back with us. I thought it was really weird in that sort of way. And then like Donnie was also wanting Venus to go and do her own stuff. I just thought it was all too weird for Turtle's sake and all that sort of stuff. But then Venus eventually just loses her arm, and then she goes a separate way, which then eventually runs into Bubblegum. And this could lead into some more interesting parts of the TMNT franchise, as this could potentially lead into Venus helping with Karai and the Foot Clan, then maybe leading down to like a war sort of thing, or I'm not too sure where they're going to be going with this. I'm really looking forward to where they take this like story element with Venus joining the wrong side again, and I feel like there's so much potential which they could do with it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see where that goes in terms of like Venus story side. But then the frogs go back, or the frog go back with Venus' arm, and then it says, oh, Bonnie's dead and that, and then the frogs just leave, and I don't even know what to say about it. It's just so disappointing. It's just like, oh, we're gonna leave and we may come back, and I still do want them to come back because I still would like them to have like a proper conclusion, and also not to mention I do like these punk frogs, so I would definitely like these characters to come back. But at the same time, with how things have been like handled with this final issue with these characters, a part of me doesn't really want them to come back, but like, I guess we'll see in the future. But at the moment, I'm not too sure how I feel about the ending with the punk frogs. And then like another thing with the ending, we also got the EPF going into Mutant Town to claim the Triceraton ship. I'm not too sure where that's going to be going for the future. I guess we'll see within the coming issues in the coming months. But it still felt a bit out of place. It's like the EPF has never been in Mutant Town for quite a while, so I know it feels really weird to have them back, and then all of a sudden, oh, because there's an alien spaceship and they go claim it and stuff. I felt that was a bit weird just having them in there. They probably, I mean, it might lead on to something in the future, but I'm not exactly too sure what it could be. And another thing that was all set up for the future with the coming issues, especially with the most recent ones, which is the Armageddon games, we got Shredder appearing in the TMNT house, and it was disappointing to say the very least. I could feel a little bit of tension between the two characters. However, I feel like it didn't have like enough impact of like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? I think with Lita's message to Leonardo saying that he needs to accept Rokosaki, and he always says it's all just makes it seem a little less impactful, as it's not like, oh my god, what's going to happen next. It's more just like, okay, yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next. It's not like one of those like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what Shredder does next and all that. It's all like, what they're going to set up next. So yeah, sadly overall, I have to say that this issue, I have really mixed feelings about this issue, as I feel like it's set up a lot of good things in terms of Armageddon games with Shredder and Leo. You also got Venus teaming up with Bubblegum and the Foot Clan. I feel like there's so much which they set up, which is so many good things. However, the biggest problem with this is that like, it's all rushed the ending, and it's all just become one of those things we basically had like a really good beginning in the middle, but then with the end it was sort of rushed, where like they had all the things really set up for such a good ending, amazing battles, but then they go ahead and do something like this. And with the foreseeable future for this issue, I can't tell if this one's going to be a really big important one in terms of things setting up, or if this is just going to be one of those ones where I was good at the time for setting things up, but maybe not good payoff. So yeah. And then also we got Dr. Jasper Barlow, which I forgot about him. He's got Donnie's blood and maybe making Intel clones, so oh god. This issue sets up a lot of things, but I feel like the conclusion to his story arc was not good, but yeah. I do hope you guys enjoy this issue, because as much as I do enjoy this story arc, and I really did enjoy this one, and I was definitely say that the artwork could definitely grow on me over time, but yikes, this issue, it feels like the Battle of the Bands, but less worse in a way. I think that's the best way to describe it, is like one of those sort of issues where like, good story, bad conclusion. Oh god, but yeah, that's gonna be it for today guys. If you do love this one, please share, like, subscribe and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.